Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've been playing the heck out of this Tokyo Ghoul game. Um, I'll give it to them. Wasn't expecting a new Tokyo Ghoul game to ever release, to be honest. You know, I thought the IP was kind of done and dusted, but we got a bit of a remake of a Grand Cross version of it. So, fair play. The game itself is not too bad. I am really enjoying the boss battles, to be honest. So, I'm trying to complete the Abyss one. It's going to take a minute or two, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But either way, yeah, no, the game itself is pretty decently done. I will say that the pay to win though side of things, god damn, you really can skip a whole lot and actually progress through the game like to end game, I would say, with what you can actually purchase to actually get you like maxed out characters so quick. It's pretty insane. But at the end of the day, they're here to make money, so I can't really complain on that part. Also, I would like to mention there is a Discord server that's up right now where they're also going to be putting in codes in a well, within the server, of course. However, the codes themselves are going to be they're going to be there for limited time and limited usage. Meaning, the first code that I saw on the Discord server was that only 2,000 people could use them, and then after that, you can't use the code anymore. Don't know why they're doing it, but it is so bad. Yeah, no comment on my end. I don't know why they're making it so that it's got limited usage, but regardless, it is what it is. But yeah, no, I've been having fun with the game. Obviously, just to clarify one last time, because I'm actually starting to get emails now. Guys, this game is an open beta, so everyone's account is going to get wiped. My account is going to get completely wiped. If you are spending money on your account, that's completely fine, because when the game officially releases and servers are available for whatever country, being just being outside of Asia, so like in Europe and whatnot, of course, what will happen is if you log in using the same login you did for the open beta, the game will recognize that you spent money on the open beta, so they'll give you a bit of a rebate, which means that you should be able to whale out day one, because you'll get a ton of gems back. That's what's going to be happening to the people that put money into the open beta. So you're not going to keep your account, but they will reward you with a ton of gems as a thank you. That way you can whale out day one. That's how they get you typically with like these open betas type of deal, rebate stuff. So hence why I haven't spent any money. Otherwise I would have picked up this rebate ASAP. With that being said, we are here to do a bit of a tier list. I've gone over through all the characters. I've been playing the heck out of this game. I've had the luxury of using some characters that I don't have that are completely busted and maxed out and whatnot. So with all that being said, we are just going to dive one in. I've got S to C. I feel like with every character is pretty decent. Like, I don't want to say that, oh, this character is trash, because that's not the case, to be honest. So with all that being said, we are going to be starting things off. I think we'll just start cooking away. So obviously Kaneki, one of the best DPS characters in the goddamn game right now. Everyone is hunting this man. If you do have him, everyone is using him. I mean, he's pretty much everyone's priority to max out. Obviously the crit damage abuse that he also applies, and the breakness that this man also gives off by applying an additional 2 weaknesses, right? So overall 3. So he can break pretty soon. And so with that, where's Rize? There she is. Boom. 1 below. Purely because she feeds off the crit damage boost that he can also apply, and on top of that, with every 1 HP the enemy loses, she gains crit rate, I'm pretty sure, right? And so with them together, it's a disgusting combo with the crit damage, with the consistency of the crits to the crit damage that she can apply. Yeah, so the crit rate increased by 1% for each 1% drop in the enemy's health, in the remaining enemy's HP. So yeah, these two are pretty disgusting. This is like the combo which a lot of people run. And then the other combo you can put together. Where's Arima? Can't find. There he is. So of course Arima is going to be the top dog, and right behind him is going to be Itori. I think that's the name. Hope I pronounced it right. Because of course Arima is working off from buffs, and Itori is just completely applying all of that, and more importantly, we're also getting debuff immunity. Of course, I'm running on the first passive, but the more you further go along, again, the more helpful she is for the whole team on hand. But these together is also a match made in heaven, of course. So yeah, we'll take that amplification. Gotta love that. And then another character. I mean, well, I think for the remaining S tier characters, in my opinion, will be Al, I was about to say Counter Strike. What? Retaliate, of course. And where's Uta? There we go. Boom, Uta. Because of course he's basically like Goltha if you've played 7 Days since Grand Cross, with the boosting for the skill cards. There we go. He can boost everyone's skill cards, of course. So that way you can get level 3 going on sooner than later. And plus, on top of that, he does give us some basic stats boost. So pretty handy. In my opinion, these 4 are like the top dogs of the game itself. I've got 3 of them. I don't have Al. One day I'll get this man. Hopefully when the game officially releases I get lucky and I get Al. But right now, yeah, these are kind of like the 4. Moving along, let's look into some tankiness. Characters that I highly want and I still don't have. So I believe, if I can remember, Shu's one of them, right? Yeah. So when it comes to provoking tankers, these characters are extremely good. Shu's one of them, so he does attract all attacks onto himself. And he also has a stance, so it's the stance that kind of makes them broken, including them obviously taking the damage by provoking the enemy. So each stance skill cast by an allied character shields your whole team for 200% of the cast attack for 1 turn. Deal damage to the target removes up to 3 buffs from it, granting self a shield of 5% max HP for 1 turn for every buff removed. But he's just overall a crazy good shielder alongside Kuriwa, of course. So this is, I think he's more used over Shu purely because of the meta of Kaneki. So that's what's happening right now. But I believe he also can do strike backs if he does take damage. So not only is he provoking, not only does he have shield, but if he does take the hit, which more than likely he will, because of course he's provoking the enemy, he does have retaliate himself. Bit of a strike back run on that part. Who else should we look at? Alright, so Jason himself needs to go to A in my opinion. Of course he does have the incapacitation. I believe on the first skill, if the enemy's debuff, he can incapacitate, and then on going to 2 and 3 he's got that 100% incapacitation. Passive skill, of course, if the enemy is immobilized, then his skill cards just instantly rank up, of course, pretty nice. And I think with his other passives too, he's actually really good too when it comes to supporting the team. At the end of the turn, for each immobilized enemy, your whole team deals 8% more damage and takes 10% less damage for over 2 turns. And every single skill is providing the immobilization right there, which is pretty nice. So overall, I will say this Jason unit is pretty cracked out. I wonder if we're ever going to get a Jason where he's like completely, well, the boss version, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, moving along, let's see, who did we... Renji. Bro, where did I put I think Renji deserves a A rank, right? This is another character that surprised me. Because I'm pretty sure he buffs, so he's also got... Oh, yeah, okay, so there's 2 blue characters that... no, sorry, green? Oh, 2 blue, yeah, okay. So, of course, with Renji, he does have the amplification, so he'll randomly get one of the following effects: reduce damage dealt by 20%, increase damage taken by 20%, or reduce crit resistance by 20%. And then, of course, amplification increases damage dealt for each 15%. Dealt by 15% for each buff you have. So with each buff, 15% increased damage. You gotta love it, of course. And I believe that stays on for every single card, which is very nice. I guess the additional buff that he applies only applies on the level 3 side of things, of course. But he is just a full-on booster for your team, which is very nice from the passive point of view. So using an energy card increases all allies characters attack related stats by 6%, so that's kind of like a bonus. All ally characters attack related stats increase by 5%, and then before an enemy character casts a skill, reduces all their stats by 3% for the remainder of the turn. And another character which is very similar in the sense of amplification. Is it Nashiro? Yeah. So this is a character which I'll also put as A rank. Also, amplification right there being applied. She also works off from, of course, buffs outside of her skill itself. So obviously on the initial passive that she'll have, every 1 buff increases the damage dealt by 5%. This increase cannot go higher than 20%, of course. At the start of your turn, reduces all enemies' defense related stats by 5%, stacks over 3 times, that's 15%, of course. And then when dealing damage, increases crit damage by 40%. So, of course, that third passive, get that with Kaneki, then you can, of course, maximize your crit damage right there, of course. So that's something to take note of. Oh, how can I forget Hinami? Yes. Wait, did I not put her in it? Okay, I thought I already put this character on the board. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say. Honestly, one of the top free-to-play characters. That being said, I think Hinami is like the only character we get given for free straight off the bat. Outside of, like, you know, GSSR tickets and whatnot. But regardless, one of the best free characters that we get. Our healing savior. Without her, I'm pretty sure we would have died a long time ago. With multiple runs, you know, we'll just say that. Okay, so I Is it Shinohara? Is that how we pronounce it? Oh, yes it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, so Shinohara is another decent green defender. Damage dealt reduced by 15%. So obviously when casting your when casting a skill the first time, then all your allies get a 10% increased damage, as well as taking 10% reduced damage. At the start of the battle, all allies gain a shield of 20% of max HP for 1 turn. Each time an ally character gains a buff from you, your target's basic attack stats increase by 3% for 3 turns. I feel like that I would sub him in. Like, if I didn't, yeah, I think the way I'm gonna kind of go about doing it is, if I don't have Kurowa, then I will probably sub in Shinohara when it comes to green defenders, and I think that being said, I'll stick him behind, like a tier behind. Although you could fight your case to kind of put him on par, but I'm just going to put him a tier behind. Alright, I think we'll do the Blood Piercers, so, you know, decent AoE damage being applied from, obviously, these two, so, but they are pretty average at most, so I'll leave them at B, you know, just AoE Blood Piercing, being able to do a little bit more damage. I believe, is it Mado, where she can potentially do 50% more? I think that's what it is if the enemy has Blood Piercing, but, yeah, either way, these two together will be pretty nice since they work off that debuff. Next thing, oh my god, I forgot what your name is, but you are mid AF, my guy. Chu Hachikawa. Yeah, I don't know. I might actually stick him. Nah, you know, no, I mean he's not too terrible. I'll give him B. I'll give him B. Preemptive, increased damage dealt by 4% for every 7% of enemy targets remaining HP. Oh, yeah, that's not too bad to be honest. I mean, this was one of my first SSRs to be pulled, but I just really didn't find really any good use for him. Well, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. No, there were certain missions where doing decent amount of AoE damage did come in clutch with this character. So I wouldn't say he was terrible. It's just realistically right now with missions that I'm doing, it's not something that I need. But I guess in a farming AoE manner, he was actually extremely handy. There we go. So I'll actually give him B. It's not too bad. And I think, you know what, like father like daughter, to be honest. I think that's fair. Plus he does work off from doing more damage from the lost HP. So there's that. Coronavirus, as I like to call her. Anyway, yeah, I think one below, because I believe, if I can recall, she works off from debuffs. The more debuff the enemy has, then of course the more she benefits from. Yeah, underbelly. So increases damage dealt by 20% for each debuff the enemy has. That has to be capped, because on the passive itself, for every one debuff, the target increases damage by 5%. So this is capped at no more than 20%. Oh, I mean, well, yeah, okay, it says, okay, well. I don't know, the way reading it's just like, oh wait, for every debuff is it 20%? No, it's 5%, so yeah. Yeah, not a bad character. Obviously debuffs is where she completely lies in, so if that's not the case, then it's not exactly going to be that beneficial. Boom, boom. Oh, I forgot. I'm pretty sure you're B? Because I'm confident in saying, okay, no, we'll leave you for now. So best defender, second, third. So yeah, I think that's kind of where those characters are at the moment. So let's have a look what we're looking at here. So Cody, just a random soldier of some sort. So damage dealt by lost HP, of course. So that's kind of how she's working. I feel like this is a character that probably won't get much use, but I mean it's there as an option. So being below 50 HP at the start of your turn, damages a random enemy for 200% of attack, shielding you for 8% of an enemy dealt by 1 turn. That's not too bad, to be honest. You deal 20% more damage when below 50%, so of course it's more in line of losing, I would say, a scary amount of HP, knowing the amount of damage that you can actually take, especially with characters or enemies doing multiple attacks. But yeah, there's that. Let's see what we've got going on here. Oh, vampirism. Okay, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, but fair enough. Dealing damage to enemies with lower than 50% HP applies Blood Rage. So with Blood Rage, increases damage dealt by 0.5% for each 1% remaining HP you have. So once again, lower the better, but I mean that could be pretty scary too. So there's that. And then did I put? Ah, yes. So in my opinion, another decent tank. Basically, Ryoko has a stance pretty much where she can take 50% of the allies' damage, so basically sharing damage, so that way, you know, it's not the full force of the damage being dealt onto whatever enemy. Bonus attack at the start of the end of the turn deals damage equal to 208% of attack to a random enemy if you have triggered Aegis in the last turn, or are the only surviving member of your turn. Oh my god. I mean, at that point, damage isn't really needed at that point. It's more importantly with the level 3 and level 6. So restores HP equal to 200% of defense at the start of the turn when you take damage on the enemy's turn, and then for the first fatal damage taken spares 1 HP and will not kill the character. Sorry, my bad. She goes to beat. Oh wait, isn't Nico also a debuffer? I mean, removes debuff. Wait, hold on a minute. Yeah, removes debuffs from all allied characters at the cost of 50% max HP, increasing damage they deal by 15%, reducing damage they take by 20%, and making them immune to debuffs for 2 turns, of course. What does level 1 do, actually? Removes all debuff for ally at the cost of 10% max HP, increasing damage up with 10%, and reducing damage taken by 10%. And then the turn exceeds on the level 2 side of things. Every 3 times you're attacked, all your debuffs are removed. As your turn starts, basic stats of allied. Oh, who's in this tree? Okay, yeah, it is limited at that point. Not a bad character though. I do feel like there is a specific moment for this character, so I'll actually put Nico in C. Not a bad character, clearly, with what he's providing. Or she... Am I gonna judge? I'm not judging. But a role to be played. Like I said, you know, every character in here does have their role being played and can be useful in certain situations, hence why we only got C. So yeah, not bad of character, pretty mid. So we'll leave them there. They have their usage, but it's somewhat limited, I would say. Okay, so one character which I need to take, because I think this is the opposite of Uta. I think Naki's the one that is, yeah, reducing its skills levels. Okay, so yeah, deals damage equal to the enemy target for 500% of attack, reducing its skill levels. So Naki's a pretty straightforward character. I mean, outside of that, there's not really much going on. Again, using the energy card to get a little bit of HP back. Pen rate going up by an extra 30% when you use the character's attacks. Of restricting an attribute against the enemy. Okay. Increased damage dealt by 50% if your remaining HP percentage is higher than the other target. Yeah, I feel like C is comfortable with him, to be honest. There's not really much going on his plate outside of the reducing the levels. So we'll take that. Amplification. Yes, I remember using this character very well. The amplification. Boom. Morgan. Okay. Yeah, so once again, working off from the buffs. So pretty similar to Adama, as you could say. I would honestly, I would say this is like, if you don't have Adama, then you've got your sub in. So I would say he's one below. Nishiki is another character which I don't know, I'm just not a fan of. I mean, again, there's not really much going on here with him. Again, he's working off from the vampirism, of course. So at the start of the turn, deals equal to 200% of attack to the enemy with the lowest HP and weakens the target's defense. I mean, that's not too bad, but again, it goes off from the lowest HP, so that's not really, I don't know, in situations that I've been in. I mean, I guess in a boss type battle, that's not too bad. Dealing damage to debuff targets increases the vampirism by another 40%. I mean, well, if they've got debuff immunity, then it's a GG at that point. I don't know, I just find him as a character that's also pretty suitable for C rank, of course. Alright, we got 3 left. Let's see, Ayato. Oh, doesn't he, yeah, so AoE ignores defense, and there's something else with him that I completely forgot. Ah, yes, at the start of the turn, increases crit rate by 50% for 1 turn if you haven't been attacked. No, that's not it. Where's... at the start of the turn, deals damage to all enemies equal to 100% of attack and applies lethal. Oh yeah, so yeah, he's a healing stopper. That's one thing which I forgot. So ignores defense, AoE damage, and on top of that, he does stop healing. I kind of like him. I might... You know what? We'll put him in B. Not a bad character. I mean, he's got his key things going for himself. I mean, some people might fight it at case and B and might want to put him to A. That's completely understandable. But I'll put him in B. Tolka is also... I feel like Tolka is in the same boat with him. Because I don't think there's not really much going on with Tolka. I mean, she's got the... Again, it's AoE being applied. Vulnerable, so damage taken increases by 10%. I feel like Ayato and Tolka together could be something, potentially. But that's something that you can do. And then every 2 debuffs on enemy characters enables your whole team to do 1.5% more damage and take 1.5% less damage. And then of course you can stack that up to 10 times, which is very nice. And then of course I believe, where is it? Is it on the final one? Yeah, no, should stack onto 2. When battle begins, increase damage taken by 2 random enemies by 10% over 2 turns. Yeah, I think she's on par with Vayato to say that they're B rank. And then the last one we've got Juzo, which, if I can remember correctly, it's the Death Mark. Is it the Death Mark and the Empowering something? Yeah, Death Mark and yeah, the Empowering Mark. So pretty much AoE damage, applies Death Mark. This damage is reduced by 20% for every 1 extra target hit. Death Mark, casting an active skill costs 10-12% max HP. Damage won't exceed 250% of attack. Death Mark expires after the effect is triggered. And then of course, if you gain 1 Empowering Mark when your turn starts, gaining 4 Empowering Marks increases all your stats by 10% for 2 turns at the cost of all Empowering Marks, preventing you from gaining Empowering Mark for the duration. Empowering Mark increases basic stats by 3%. Juzo is overall not a bad character, I will say. This is a character that I low-key want just to test out and have fun with, just to get a good understanding on the Death Mark situation. But from what I'm seeing right now, I think B is going to be a comfortable spot up until I actually get access to this character to really test out the Death Mark as well as the Empowering. Is it Empowering Power? Empowering Mark. Empowering Mark. There we go. Yeah, this is a character I do want to try out. But I think that's it. So that's kind of where I'm going to be classing the characters themselves on where I think they are within the tier list manner. Like I said, I do believe every single character are good, right? I mean, clearly there are certain characters that are broken. I mean, with this tier list, again, please give me your thoughts down below. Where would you put a character? If I've placed, I don't know, Ayato too low and that he deserves to be A rank, then, you know, let me know down below. Because of course everyone's going to have different opinions on where each character goes, so I'm eager to see where you guys are saying where some of these characters go. So by all means, discussion, let's go. And yeah, but I'm comfortable leaving the characters with where they're at right now. In my mind, this is all my opinion. So, but I'm eager to see on what happens going forward when the game officially releases. I don't think anyone will change, to be honest, so they'll probably keep everyone the same. The question is, going forward with new release characters, how's that going to change things? But yeah, I think I'm comfortable leaving everyone here.